fell asleep watching something earlier. Then I was awakened around midnight, but probably because my TV was on and maybe my body was reacting to um, the what am I trying to say? The energy coming from the screen. Because even when that's on, you're still having energy like being on your body. Let me turn it off because I can feel it on the side of my head anyway. And then on top of that, you have all these sensors that's built into your phones. Your phones have a ton of sensors built into it, and the sensors in your phone is being used to transmit information to your body. Light-based sensors and also sound is being transmitted to your body. Your phone is literally like your remote control to your body. I remember at some point, probably within year one of my targeting, I remember them saying, he doesn't realize his phone is the equalizer. So they used to say that so often, and I never really understood what they meant. They used to say your phone is the equalizer. Look, he gonna download the equalizer. Your phone is the equalizer. They used to say that so often, and I don't know. I like because I'm not that tech savvy. At least not like I used to be when I was younger. I kind of like stopped really getting so involved into electronics. But you know, I didn't really understand what he meant. Talking about I call him Michael, the handler that basically hacked my system or whatever, hacked my nervous system. Uh, would I know what he looked like? I might. Um, I know him and his mother's probably still living over there in 1490 Boone. Um, whatchamacallit, probably all four of the people that hacked my nervous system. They're all still living over there. Um, but anyway, that's not what I was really trying to get into. But yeah, I had to process a lot. Had that long conversation with my. The sad part is when I think about our so-called relationship. Um, I had the feeling that this wasn't going to work out to begin with, for one particular reason. The first time we dated, I remember I left because I didn't necessarily I I couldn't see where I truly fit in with the arrangement, that she had with her father's, her son's father. And he had this very, very like dominating type, you know I guess like personality about him or whatever, where what is this daddy long leg, get out of here. I try not to kill the daddy long legs. In New York City, if you got a roach problem, daddy long legs, they help. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, and like he had her doing the most, and I mean, she was like breaking her neck trying to like basically do everything, right? She had to bring him the child. She had to go and get the child to bring back home. And I don't know, like I've never seen anything like that before. And when I would say something about it, she was just like, well, I'm just happy for the fact that, he's there, he's not necessarily trying to like, like not be in his life, blah blah blah. It took a long time for me to get him to the point where he's at. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna let y'all handle whatever y'all got going on, cause I can't. I was just telling myself I can't really. No, there's something in me that's not accepting of this. So, and that this is before my targeting. I think I've known her since about what 2018. I think 2018 or 2019, something like that. We know each other. I think about like 5 years or so. You know, but yeah. I realized that every time I look back at some of the women that I've dated, there's always been this one constant. Um, okay, maybe not all the women I dated, but some of the women that I end up actually getting into a relationship with, not just the ones I dated, but the ones I actually got into a relationship with. They all had this particular thing where it always seemed like they wanted someone to save them from their own situations. And I realized like I'm not a savior. I am not a savior. Um I don't intend to go into a relationship looking to save anyone from themselves, because I actually believe like, and I've actually hardened myself to this point. Probably like in my mid 20s or late 20s, something like that, where I told myself I was like, um, I am not a superhero. I am not in the business of saving people in that sense. I say if I am to save anyone, it is to save anyone who cannot save themselves, or no, who are not able to save themselves, like those who are, unfortunate enough to not be able to save themselves. But yeah, and then the gang stalkers, they were having a field day with this whole, with me basically dealing with realizing that like, we aren't going to work out. Then I'm feeling my, when she told me about what some older guy mentor or whatever was basically saying about what he thought about me based on what she was telling him, but the guy never met me a day in his life, basically saying that I'm like weak, or I don't sound like I'm an alpha, or some, all that manly man, you know bullshit. um I don't know, that was a huge turnoff for me, because I was like, if someone can basically step in and make you change your whole perception about who I am just like that, you were never a part of me. You were never with me. And then when I think about how, like, the second time we ended up meeting each other, she was in some type of relationship or dating some guy who basically, like, he had, I don't know, I guess he had stuff going on in his life or whatever, but he wasn't necessarily, I guess, one of the best communicators with her, or whatever the case may be. And then we went out to just go and have a couple of drinks or whatever. Then she was telling me her story or whatever. Then she did the whole thing with her eyes, where she was just like, um I want you to soothe me or comfort me or whatever. And then me being who I am, I remember in that moment telling myself, Chris, you know what she's doing. You've been here before and you've seen other women do it too in her position. Matter of fact, I'm like, I've even been, hit on by a woman who was married. Even made out with her, but I didn't realize she was married until after like, you know, well, that's a whole nother story. But basically, I was at a bar by myself, and this woman, this older woman, she basically moved on me, and then we started talking, buying each other's drinks. The next thing you know, we started making out in the bar. Then um, when she asked me, um, if I wanted to get out of there, I think, what did I say? What was my response? Oh, I think it was something along the lines like that I couldn't necessarily go anywhere because at that time I didn't have my own place yet. So she had gave me her contact information. Then that's when I looked online for her and I realized, wow, she's a married woman. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow. So I was like, I've seen this look before where someone probably has some problems going on in their relationship life or their home life or whatever, and they're looking for someone to basically be that outlet for them. And I have this feeling that, like, for a majority of my life, I've always been a really good person. I've always been a really good understanding person. I'm always trying to, like, try to see if I can help someone or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I feel like I always end up attracting those who are looking to grab energy from me. But then I'll be wondering sometimes, well, am I being restored by these people too? And there was I don't know, but anyway, yeah, that was a whole experience anyway, just dealing with this, and then with the whole gang stalking part playing involved, and me fighting the urge to want to feel, sad or despair or something like that, because I know if I allow myself to go to that level, they're going to find that they're going to see that frequency that, and then they're going to try to hold me to that place to a point where I feel almost like, self-destructive or whatever the case. So I didn't want to necessarily allow myself to stay in that realm for too long, because if I did, then if I allow myself to stay in that realm for too long, then they're basically going to have a field day with, whatever torture, tactics that they have, because in order for you to really be able to fight back against what they're doing, you have to know what it means to actually manage and protect your peace. You have to know what it means to actually, like, have full control over. Wow, as soon as I took that off, that's when I felt everything come back. Um, yeah, I made another grounding piece. I mean, it's much longer. I just coiled it up. So remember, I was telling you all about how I've been feeling like all this pressure, like it's right now it's building all around my head. But before I get into that, sensors. There are probably millions, thousands, or if not thousands, millions of sensors all over the world, and they're all connected to this cloud. Everything basically goes back to some cloud server somewhere where they're collecting every ounce of energy and information about every single person in the world. Or probably more likely, if you're in like if you're in like a city or a country that has, a lot of electricity or cell towers, access to, satellites, things of that sort, blah blah blah. NSA has been using it for centuries, and CIA probably has been using these things. I mean, I said for centuries, for years. CIA, all these different agencies and government groups have been using this technology for what's supposed to be national security against foreign enemies, but no, no, it's not for it's not even for national security, because when you learn about these secret societies and how wars are created and how there are mass agendas for, almost every there are agendas for almost every country, and how let me put that thing back on. But yeah, there are like mass agendas. There are agendas for just about every country, every group of people. Why? Because there are elitists who are basically ruling over the world, and who are dictating and controlling basically who lives, who dies, who can have a home, who cannot have a home, who can own land, who can't own land, who can have a business, who cannot have a business, who can have a successful business, and who can have a very promising business, I guess monetarily, and then who will only just have like a minimal sized business, whatever the case may be. But there are these people who are basically controlling everything, at least based on how we see the world through our first and I guess second world eyes. um that's why they say first world problems. Huh. Yeah, as soon as I took that off, as soon as I took this off, that's when I started to feel all the pressure. But yeah, the sensors. There are many sensors all around us at all times. Frequencies, light based sensors, whether it's coming from a satellite or it's coming from, sensors built on top of street lamps, street lights, street lamps. Whether it's sensors built on, the cell phone towers. Then what people also don't know that's around is something called digital cell towers, and I'm sure you've seen me pull up digital cell towers on, I got a few videos where I use this app called Architecture of Radio that basically is a augmented reality view of all digital information and transmissions, satellite, Wi-Fi routers, cell towers, you know, all of it. And then it even has it so that like you can turn the volume on so that when you actually highlight a cell tower, you hear the like a specific. It's like a, I don't know if I can say it's a frequency, but whatever that sound is that playing, it sounds like, like it's communicating with something or whatever. And then you can, and each cell tower has its own unique sound, just like each satellite that I would point I would aim the phone that has its own particular sound and everything. Um, and it makes me so upset. I can't find nothing else on those four Sirius satellites, right? all I can find is like who they used to be owned by, and most of the time they were all like those Sirius 1, 2, 3, and 4. They were originally European based, satellite television, well, satellites. And then each one of them, one by one, were being like basically retired and then pushed off to the graveyard orbit. But at some point, they have been reacquired, or they have been, I guess you could say, hijacked, hacked, and hijacked, and now they're under the ownership, or at least it says in the app, they're under the ownership of the United States, used for what it says, communications, I think. And then it has this other little sub little section that says Intel Sat. So I'm guessing intelligence satellite. And everywhere that I kind of like, you know, um anytime I pull up that app and I try to figure out, okay, where are these satellites at now? They're always in some kind of like triangulated formation. Where it'll be like one there, then it'll be like one like over there, then it'll be like one like over there, and then it'll be like one down there, something like it. Every so often two might be close together, like that, but for the most part, they always seem like they're triangulating um on to specific spots or whatever, right? You know, these sensors, right? These sensors are basically beaming um, radiation into your body. I mean, this energy that they're beaming into your body. It's not energy that the human body is meant to be absorbing. Our organic tissue is not meant to absorb this type of energy. Now, what they're doing for most of these people now is they're basically changing the very organic nature or and matter of their cells, their DNA, their tissue, so that they can absorb more of the energy and actually not have, I guess, the side effects or whatever of what happens when the body is overloaded with, when the body is overloaded with too much energy or too much charge, you know, and then as everyone has nanotechnology in them, you know, they're being regulated. They're all being regulated, if not by a handler per se, they're being regulated by artificial intelligence that has I guess, that has a trained program in understanding how to, monitor the vitals and the functionings, the systems of a human. So, but anyway, it's all these sensors and the energies that's basically being forced into our bodies. It's, you know, for us who's being targeted, is basically like heating up the tissue. Like it's heat and is heat and it's electro is it's heat and it's light, and it has magnetic properties. All three combined, it can penetrate through any layer of bone or tissue in the body. And then what it's doing is basically it's heating up. It's like it's heating up the the tissue in the brain. At least that's what it. I believe that's what it feels like it's heating up the tissue of the brain, and then as they're heating up the tissue of the brain, the gas, the water molecules, the liquid and everything that's in the body, it's basically splitting apart. Like it's like the atoms are splitting apart, and that pressure that you feel building up in your head, that's the gas. And it's like it's not necessarily escaping unless you do certain things to try to alleviate it. Now, what this is basically a portable grounding device. I first came across learning about these from Tony Pantalaresco and Herbs Plus Beadworks. He is a herbalist and I guess I could call him an engineer. Yeah, he's like a herbalist, engineer, scientist, botanist. I don't even know all the things that he probably described himself as, but in his YouTube channel, Herbs Plus Beadworks, he shows you how to build many different, little inexpensive things that provide, a pretty great relief to just about all of these attacks. One thing I really need to get on the ball with is actually I want to build. I have to build this nano bucket. He came up. Well, I don't know if he came up with it, but he shows you how to build this nano bucket, which is basically you take a plastic bucket and I think he glues on some. Now they're going from my throat. So okay, now you see how my hand is positioned, right? When I came, I caught the frequency like this. On the bottom end of my hand, it's like there is a frequency beam going up through my thumb and my index finger, like the base of where my thumb and index finger are meeting. There's a frequency there. I have it in my hand. As I continue to hold it, it's almost as if you were holding, let's say, I don't know, some type of tube, like you're holding some type of flexible tube, or yeah, like some type of flexible tube, and water is flowing through the tube, and then all of a sudden there's this big lump of something that's in the tube, and then when it gets to where your hand is at and you're holding it, and then all of a sudden you feel this like lump of something trying to pass through your hands. Like you feel the tube swell, or like something is trying to pass through the tube, and you feel the tube swell where your hand is at, and then it goes by. It's going upwards. Now, I caught it like this. And then when I pulled to the side like that, it's like I don't know if you can hear that, but I don't think your head is supposed to make that sound. I feel like if your head is making that sound, that means you don't have a lot of fluid inside of your head, because it's like It's like the sound that's made when when something that's supposed to be wet isn't wet, and or yeah, I guess even better, like when you have on, like, I guess wet clothes, like a wet t-shirt or something, and it's sticking and it sticks to your skin, and then you like lift it up, and then it's like that that wet is like that wet towel feel on a hard surface. They are basically dehydrating my body. I mean, that's what that's what microwave, sickness and radiation sickness basically does. It dehydrates the body. Um, but yeah, they're basically cooking me inside out, and my brain and my heart are taking some heavy damage. Now the good thing is once you learn how to actually catch a frequency, you can use that frequency to basically trap other frequencies. Like you can literally collect other frequencies in your hand, and this is why I'm trying to get as many people as I can to consider learning about qigong, because qigong and well, I don't know what um what Buddhists or Hindus do, but as far as qigong, well, I don't know. I think qigong is basically just like a it's like an exercise, and it's like movements that support the nourishment and vitality of your natural energy, your human energy. You know, I want to find I want to find like a place where I can go to like literally like be trained in full in this stuff. But I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, this is basically with this part here are many neodymium magnets that I put together so that they're each repelling each other, like repelling, pushing away from each other. You tape them together. I used copper tape. Um, he had used, what did he use? He had used like no, he used just straight up copper. He used two, decent sized neodymiums, and then used copper foil or copper sheet to basically wrap around it, and then he closed it up. What I did was I, tried something else, and I used copper tape since it has adhesive on it. And then I basically attached it to a alligator clamp. See the alligator clamp. This is the other end of the alligator clamp, and on each end of the alligator clamps you use copper wire. Now the reason you see this here is the way he explains it is because when you make this part makes contact with your skin. Remember I told you that our body produces an aura, or basically like a bubble. Like our human energy basically has layers. We have layers of energy that project outward. I think it goes about maybe at least about 5 feet away from the body. Now, what they're basically doing is they're using these sensors to basically penetrate through um, our layers, to penetrate through our aura, our layers, or what Qigong would say is their sensors are penetrating our protective Wei Qi, our protective energy. Their sensors penetrate through it, and it basically creates like a layer. It creates like an exoskeleton around our entire body. Basically, our energy is infected with like a virus, like an electronic virus. Our spiritual, wow, I just got chills when I said that. So I think I might have explained it completely the way it needed to be explained. Our natural spiritual energy is infected with a digital virus that's being produced by light and sound energy. Infrared, was I think it's either far or near or mid infrared. I'm not sure, but I know it's infrared. And once they have infected our energy and they have hacked our nervous system, because our nervous system is, it's electrical too, and you can use infrared light to basically read the numerical value of energy, of some of an electrical thing or whatever. I think you know what I'm trying to say, but um and I'm trying to get all this stuff out while I still have the mental capacity to still be able to articulate what I'm experiencing. Because one thing I know is like I can't allow myself to become one of those angry, rah, I can't stand this. Da, da, da. I mean, I understand, Ti's a this is one hell of an ordeal, and especially for people who haven't done anything wrong to anybody. you know um Trust me, I completely understand where you're at, but in order for me to be able to be as effective as I feel like I want to be, I have to be very maintained and controlled, and learn as much as I can and how to articulate what is happening, because at some point, whether I'm dead or alive, everything that I'm doing is going to come back up in the future, and it's going to be for the benefit of generations to come. So like just now, I just basically like, so here, where you see where the knuckle of my thumb is, and where it's meeting the base of my index finger, there's a frequency coming towards my forehead. Like, if I slowly track it, it's going here. And they've been aiming for that spot all day today. They've been aiming at that spot all day today. Yeah, it's like right here. And then if I follow it, now I have realized over time that they actually can bend it. They bend these beams. They're like you can literally, it's like if they don't want you to find exactly where they're at, it's like they're drawing out where they want the beam to go. They try to make it almost like into like some type of like elaborate pattern or something like that. Well, I don't think it's a pattern, but they just try to make it seem like it's like you're not gonna find it. So they basically just like pull the beam however they, you know, whatever, and then if you backtrack it enough, you'll find out where it's coming from. If you learn to catch the frequency, and because our bodies emit energy from our hands, human biofield. Um, there's an article. Wait, maybe I could pull it up on here. There we go. Okay. All right. I know it's backwards, but um, this site here, I'll include it in the description so then you can read it for yourself too. But this website here showed me exactly how much energy is emitted from our body, and not just our body but also our hands, and how much we can learn about the energy emitted from our body. Measurement of the human biofield and other energetic instruments. um what am I trying to say? So because I learned that our hands also um are, well, and in Qigong they teach you that your hands are like your first line of defense and healing. Because if you study if you study human energy long enough, you learn that you can actually heal yourself with your own hands. Because every sickness is basically energy. Like, sickness is basically when your cells are disrupted, or like the energy is not what it should be for that cell, or the tissues of that, or yeah, for those cells. That's basically what sickness is. Sickness is basically a imbalance in energy. So when I learned that our hands actually produce emit energy, then I started to realize, if our hands emit energy, then we actually can sense the any foreign energies that's coming in contact with our body. So, and what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna add some. I'm also gonna add some. I'm also gonna add some. What's the word I'm looking for? Some Qigong reading and some Qigong information to read, and also maybe a couple of videos you can watch. Because I think this is probably going to be one of the most important things um, for every TI or anybody who think they might be dealing with electronic harassment, or may maybe those who are going along with the game stalking, and they may want to actually try to see if there's a possibility that they can separate themselves as well. Because trust and believe, when all this goes down, you don't want to be on the side that they're on. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be on their side. I mean, because at the end of the day, we all got to die at some point. But what do you really want to die for? Do you want to die because, oh, you know, I don't know. I'm getting tired, so I can't even go into all that. But anyway, um, yeah, when I realized that my energy can actually sense foreign energy coming in contact with my body, I was just like, And when Tony Pantalaresco mentioned about how when you take these portable devices and you press it firmly against your skin, he said what it does, it basically takes the energy current, the energy that is flowing over your skin, it is then, it basically like, it comes into here, like I guess the it this is creating like a field. It's creating like some type of like energy field around your body. I need to make about like two of these things. um he said it makes like an energy field, right? And when you press it against your skin, it creates an interference. So I learned this too. They just try to transmit something in my left ear. Usually, a lot of times before they're about to do something, they always have to send the signal first. They send the signal first, and they wait for it to resonate with your brain, and then once it resonates, that's usually when they follow up with some type of verbal statement to their audience that's watching, through the cloud server or whatever. Um but yeah, when you place this against your skin, oh wait, before I get to that part, I realized that because I've been sent, I'm becoming even more and more sensitive to feeling and understanding the energies that's around me and everything. I noticed that all I had to do is just do this. Every time I place my finger against my skin, I feel something in my brain go, and then when I lift my finger off, it goes down. Then when I place my finger back on my skin, something goes. That's when I realized. Another TI had told me, he was like, "It's an exoskeleton. It's an exoskeleton. It's basically like a layer of skin over your body that you can't see." So then I said, okay. So when I seen the Tony Pintaresco video about these, and then he started talking about how, like, this basically creates an interference. Place this on your skin, and I kid you not, nearly almost instantly, I felt so much pressure just relieved from my head just now. The moment I placed this on my skin, that's when I felt so much pressure just relieved right out of my head. Like it just like it was almost like it was like how do I describe it? Um I don't know. It was almost like feeling something like just like melt right off of you, or like something just like completely just like look, and then now they're trying to transmit another. See, and that's the thing though. You're not just dealing with light, but you're also dealing with sound. So if they can't defeat you with the light, they're going to use the sound. They're going to use infrasound to transmit to your body, and then basically like, oh, they're going to use infrasound to transmit to your body, and then that's how they'll resonate with your body then. So if you find a way to block the light from coming in contact with your body, they'll basically just transmit sound, and then you're going to hear it unless you have some special, well, earplugs did help to some degree. Earplugs did help to some degree. Because I remember when my targeting first started, this is before I really started to know about the light based part. I mostly was just like in my early studying phase, I was mostly learning about how sound can be weaponized. And I was really thinking, I was like, wow, there's all this sound and stuff. And that's when I learned that, like, if I place my thumb on the receiving end of your cell phone, the part you put to your ear, if I press my thumb against it, that's when I started to notice there is a sound that I can't necessarily hear, but it's coming from my phone. There is a sound that's coming from your phone that is basically transmitting, information to your body, whether you realize it or not. I mean, but then you can always test it out. But anyway, yeah. What else? Um, so yeah. Yeah, and I have this on the crown of my head because I also realize that, well, if the light is coming down and this is also grounding, then maybe I can, but I try to be mindful about having magnets around the brain, because apparently, you're not supposed to have magnets around your head for too long. But then again, I know TIs who have built, like, well, you got Robert Stanson. He builds helmets and other shielding materials. He even has videos to show you how you ground your mattress, so that basically you're creating something like this, but you're clipping it or attaching it to the metal springs of your bed, and that reduces the amount of radiation that the metal coils would conduct. And then when you lay down on your bed and you feel like you never rested and you feel even more sick than you did before, that's because the metal coils, the metal springs in your mattress was basically retaining, or conducting energy or radiation. And then once you lay down on it, your body, which is also conductive, started to absorb the energy. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, this is my portable grounding. But I need to put in some closing remarks because it's 4:33. I almost started to look to see if there was a shift for me to want to work today, but then I said, and today's my day off. But I started to tell myself, do I want to work? But I'm like, no, I need to just go ahead and process everything that's happening right now. So um, yeah, I need to focus on processing what's happening. Um, because I at some point I realized I don't think there's anyone of all the TIs that I've been, like, following on YouTube, and like, I guess, I'm in, a bunch of, TI groups on Facebook. No one is talking about what I'm talking about. Like the significance between understanding human energy and then the synthetic energy that they're weaponizing against us, and then how I've actually used Qigong, or the understanding of Qi from based on their culture, and how I am basically learning how to figure out everything. And this yeah, and then there's this part. Well, I don't need to get into that because, my mom, she doesn't want to believe in the technological part. She's like, she know it's the devil, and she's not going to give him any power. But yet, I'm like, but she's like, she's swearing up and down that a lot of things that's happening to her body is like some natural stuff. But she's trying not to give. She said that she's not trying to give the devil any power. But I'm like, no, it's not giving the devil power. Claiming ignorance is, to me, is like giving the devil power. Me understanding how the devil works, or how, those who serve, Satan works. Understanding how they do things and what they're doing, I think there's a lot of power being gained back just from knowing, because it's the ignorance or the lack of knowledge, that's how they basically completely, get away with what they're doing. And but my mom, she's 74 years old. She's like, and she had a point when she said, I made it this far in life, and I'm not necessarily knowing everything about what they doing, how they doing, but God is still carrying me. All I have is God, and that's all I need is God. I don't need to know all that stuff about what the devil doing and stuff, things like that. And you know what? She may have a point. She may definitely have a solid point. Because, I mean, I grew up my entire life, not knowing that she was being targeted, and I knew that, like I knew about her case. Well, yeah, everybody knew about her case with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, but I didn't necessarily know that she was being targeted, like the electronic harassment in this capacity, So when she, you know, she's like right now she's having a hard time getting around. Her legs is like really messed up on her, or like her legs, like she's having trouble with walking and stuff like that. But uh I need to cut my hair because if I cut my hair, I could probably build something else that I can wear like under a hat, like another grounding device that I can have like on pinpointed areas of my skull, and then have a grounding wire that I can clip to something else that's a wave to the body. But yeah. And then I always take kind of enjoyment in when I hear them say, like, anytime I overcome whatever they're doing with their attacks and everything, they always yell out to their audience, he got emotional energy. He's really surviving off emotional energy. He got emotional energy. Emotional energy, emotional energy. That's why I hear them say emotional energy. He got emotional energy. So I'm thinking everybody else that's in this augmented transhumanist society, they no longer have a soul, because it's the soul that governs your basically your emotions and everything. It's the soul that is power, that emits the power behind the words of emotion. It's the soul that generates the energy. If you feel sad, your soul will project sad energy. If you feel angry, your soul will project angry energy. If you feel love, if you feel loved or loving, your soul will project loving energy. So, and look, and I just got chills when I said that. So I know I'm right. Look, I'm telling you, God is with me, and I do not need anything. But what I want is for other people to get to where I'm at. That's what I want, is for other people to get to where I'm, because if more people can get to where I'm at on the spiritual level, we could actually bleed all these people who are trying to suck us dry. We can bleed them of every source of what they think would be, um, I don't know, useful to them. We can bleed them dry. But because a lot of people have lost their natural ways to connect with the universe and things like that, that's why it's so much easier for them to just bend their will to the oppressors. But I don't know. There was other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I don't know. I think this was a good you know video anyway. So I'm gonna just end it here. I ain't even realize I was talking for an hour. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna try to go to sleep. I'm gonna try with this on the top of my head, see how this feels when I wake up in the morning. But anyway, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.